The environmental watchdog describes the situation facing New Zealand's native birds as pretty desperate and says a lot more money is needed to save some from extinction. In a new report, the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, Dr. Wright, says 80% of native bird species are in trouble. She's calling for new taxes on tourists and using genetic science to help control predators and help species like the kakapo, takehe, little spotted kiwi survive. I asked Dr. Wright how bad things are.
John, we have 168 native bird species. 1/3 of them are in serious trouble. Half of them are in some trouble, and only a fifth, 1 in every 5, is doing okay. So I think this is pretty desperate.
It is desperate. And the 1/3 that are in serious trouble,
yes.
Forgive me for forcing the point here, but are some of them at risk of extinction?
Well, that's really what it means. I mean, it means under threat of extinction, really. Not necessarily imminently, but means they're in low numbers, often declining. So the risk just grows.
And what species are you most concerned about?
Well, I can give you some examples of some that are in serious trouble. And these are ones that are endemic to New Zealand. They're not found anywhere else in the world. So the kea, you know, the world's only mountain parrot. The wraibill, which is one of my favourites I discovered during this investigation, lives in the braided rivers of the South Island.
Yes.
The whio, the duck, that's really a whitewater kayaker, the blue duck. The wandering albatross is another one. The Fiordland crested penguin is another one. The takahe is another one. So there are, in total, in that serious trouble category, I think 54 different species.
Right. How urgent is the need to respond to their predicament?
Well, I think it is very urgent. The most urgent thing to do is around predators. So the government, in a way, has got it right with setting the predator-free 2050 goal. And in a way, it's less about 2050 than it is about really focusing us on predators now, because it's not just possums, rats and stoats, it's feral cats, wild cats out there, and other things like ferrets and weasels and so on, hedgehogs, all kinds of things that are eating our birds and eating their eggs.
Do the people who are caring for these birds, who are charged with trying to prevent their extinction, have enough money to do so?
Well, I'm saying we need a lot more money, because we need to be creating large areas on the mainland where we keep the predators really low, and areas that can support larger populations of birds. Because one of the things that's come through very clearly to me in this report is that we've put our birds on offshore islands for good reason, because we were able to clear them of predators and make them safe. We've put some in mainland sanctuaries, and they're good, and they're helping everyone understand it. And then there's more in remnants of habitat. And so a lot of them are in isolated small populations where they risk losing their genetic diversity.
Yes,
so
and that was the thing. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm really struck by the fact that there are very small gene pools now, and that is entirely problematic for a species.
Well, yes, that's right. Depends which species you're talking about, and we don't know how diverse they are in many cases. We do know about the kakapo, because of course that's been exhaustively studied, and they are all so similar to each other that, if a disease comes along that one of them falls prey to, the rest would probably follow. So that you lose the resilience. They also struggle to breed. They suffer from what's called inbreeding depression. So I'm saying that's a bird at the bottom of the cliff. We haven't brought it back from the brink of extinction. It continues to teeter on the brink of extinction. And we don't want other birds getting into that state.
And how do we stop that from happening, given the urgency of this?
Large areas where you can have larger populations of birds, moving birds around that have come from different parts of the country, so their genetics are a little different, their genomes are a little different. Restoring habitat is a whole heap of things in the report, but the big immediate one really is predators, and getting predators down to low levels on bigger areas of land.
One suggestion is for a tourist tax to raise money to invest it in retrieving these birds from the brink of extinction. That's something you support, isn't it?
I've suggested it be investigated. I know that some people argue for it and some people argue against it. I think it's well worth doing. What I'm struck by, John, is overseas people charge for things. Someone told me yesterday that they'd done a 2-hour walk in Italy and had to pay a significant number of dollars to be allowed to do that. So, we can, I believe, get a lot more money off our tourists, and I believe we should, because that's why they come here. They come because you've seen pictures of our national parks. I don't see why they shouldn't help contribute directly to support them, and I think they'd mostly do it gladly. Put a bird stamp on their passport.
I'm trying to scan you.
Yeah.
How do you know about it?
That's Dr. Jan Wright, who is the Parliamentary Commissioner for the Environment, talking to us a short time ago.